Garry versus Carlos Prates is just wrapped up. I'm going to go through what happened, what went wrong, and why Carlos Prates kind of fumbled that fight. I'm going to go from top to bottom, so from the main event down to the earliest fight, so people don't get bored. Alright, getting started off. Garry had a good performance against Carlos Prates. I don't know if Garry shut everything down from Prates, or Prates just didn't commit to anything and just didn't throw. For the first 3 rounds, I'm 90% certain Prates threw less than 10 strikes around. Yeah, round 1, 7 strikes, 12, 10. And 90% of those was just head kicks that just miss. It's, 7 of 16, 12 of 22, 10 of 20. And then round 5 he decides to put the gas pedal on, but it's too late by that point. You've lost to rounds. I think he was so worried about it going the distance, he just tried to conserve energy as much as possible. And it's just sad. Didn't commit to anything. And the minute he did commit to something, which was late in round 5, he cracked him open. He busted his nose. Garry was rocked bad. Imagine if he'd done that in round 2 or 1. And then Garry had to continue to fight with that broken nose. I don't know if he broke his nose or not, but it certainly looked like he broke his fucking nose. You know what I mean? Imagine if Prates did that in round 1. How different would the fight have gone? But he decided no. He did the same thing Alex Pereira did. He was too concerned about the takedowns. It's another situation where it's I feel like in a rematch, Prates could win if he just knew what to do. But no, he was too concerned about the takedowns. Same thing happened to Pereira. It's just sad. Too concerned about the takedowns, and that opens up for Garry to hit him with some shots. Same thing happened with Ankalaev and Pereira. Just sad. But fair play, Garry looked better than I thought he would, or maybe Prates looked worse than I thought he would. I don't know who to blame here. But it was a good fight overall. It wasn't boring whatsoever. Garry sometimes made it boring. He kind of hugged the leg. The final moments of round 5, Garry kind of clung on for dear life. Don't know what that means. I feel like someone at some point is going to chain Garry. Because Prates literally just tapped him once on the ground and Garry looked like he was about to go out. So I feel like at some point one of the heavy hitters of welterweight will probably chin him. Probably like a Joaquin Buckley or something, or a Shavkat in a rematch. Alright, moving on. Quintessential Anthony Smith performance here. I don't know who thought he'd actually win this fight. Maybe he would have just surprised everyone and jumped on the back and got a rear naked, but Shang Ming Yang is too smart for that, I think. It went exactly how you think it went. Smith threw good punches in the first minute, got hit with one thing and then just shelled up and just laid on the ground and waited for the ref to step in. It was sad. He got into a scuffle or an argument with someone in the crowd. He nearly jumped over the fence. That was very interesting. I don't know what that was over. I think the fella in the crowd flipped him off or something. I don't know. Fair play, Shang Ming Yang. Bye bye, Anthony Smith. It's been very fun predicting your fights. I think this is the first time we predicted them on this channel, but it's farewell. It's sad almost. This man nearly took John Jones to a decision, or did take John Jones to a decision. He could have been champ. That is something fucking else. Alright, moving on. Giga Chikadze versus David Onama. I anticipated that Giga Chikadze would win on the feet, and he did. He rocked David Onama sometimes on the feet. Now, bear in mind, it was nearly 50-50 on the feet. I felt like they could have gave it to Giga, but I'm not going to complain. 0 takedown defense from Giga. Just 0 takedown defense. I think that was some of the worst wrestling I've ever seen from a fighter. Literally no wherewithal, no. He trains from Arab, I think. I'm pretty sure, and he doesn't know how to defend a takedown and get up. It's just weird. It was a solid fight. It was kind of interesting. I don't really see David Onama going on to do much in featherweight. Maybe he might make the top 10. Who knows? I don't know. But I don't really see him being a title contender or whatnot. I think he's like 30 something. It's only going to get worse from here for him. But good job, both of them. It was an alright fight. Probably one of the most boring fights in the card. Because, in fairness, this was a boring fight, but this was a legendary card. You know what I mean? This was a great, great card for knockouts. Speaking of great knockouts, I believe. Never mind. I thought the Randy Brown fight would be next, but I called this fight to a T. I said if this goes past round 1, it's going to be the most boring fight of the century, and it was. It really, really was. I nearly fell asleep after like halfway through the second round. I fully expected Abus to finish him in the fucking first or second, but quintessential fashion, he threw a punch and it nearly knocked himself over, and Pereira just did nothing. Pereira just kind of stood there and like took it. I think he thought like, oh, I'm gonna wait till he gasses out, and then he just gassed out himself, waiting for Abus to gas out. It was truly a spectacular fight. Pereira kind of came back in the third round, but like didn't really do much. I'm pretty sure he still lost it on points. Arguably. Oh no, Pereira probably won the final round. What a legendary fight this was. I hope they both get cut from the UFC, because they're both going to go on to lose again. Like, Michel Pereira is too old right now. He's lost his athleticism that made him win some fights in the first round. Abus Magomedov is just shit. It's just, I don't know what's next for either of them. I don't see either of them fucking going on to win anything. This is a weird one. I got my prediction right. I'm happy. Moving on. Randy Brown versus Nicholas Dalby. This fight was a banger. This was probably the best fight of the night, arguably. I called that Nicholas Dalby's age would catch up to him. Randy Brown chinned him in round 1, rocked him bad, and then I don't know if it was a knockdown or a slip. They didn't show a replay, so I can't really say if it was a knockdown or not. But I'm just gonna assume it was a knockdown from Dalby. He knocked down Randy Brown at the end of round 1 and then ended round 1 on top. I don't think that's enough to win the round, but some people think it was. I think it was like barely enough if it was. Randy Brown in the second round just kind of swung with him, and then like Max Holloway X just caught him with a right hand as Nicholas Dalby was coming in. Flatline KO nearly. He was still kind of there, but he wasn't moving. Alright, good job Randy Brown. He got a performance bonus, I believe. I could see Randy Brown doing some decent things at welterweight. I could see a JDM rematch happening sometime down the line, but I don't know. Depends how much he improves. I think he's a bit too chinny. Fair play, Randy Brown. Nicholas Dalby should probably retire. I think that's probably the move for him now. Moving on. Ikram Aliskerov versus Andre Muniz. This was a very strange knockout. You know, I don't know if like the power of Aliskerov is just different or something, but he just kind of tapped him with the left hook and Muniz just crumbled. It was a weird one. This was a great comeback win. I said in the predictions he's going to need like a statement performance, and he kind of got that. He looked really good. First round knockout. I don't know if Muniz was just chinny or Aliskerov just hits different. I can't really say. I'm just going to assume Aliskerov just hits different, you know. Exciting fights I see from the future. I see him fighting like Apollo Costa or Vittori or Roman Dolidze or something like that. I don't see him breaking into the top 5, but I see him like fighting like a Vittori or a Dolidze and getting ranked in that. Good performance. I'd like to see him fight Vittori next, maybe, or Dolidze. Moving on. Matt Chanel versus Jimmy Flick. Arguably, you could have given that to Jimmy Flick, but I'm just going to say I'm not mad at it because I feel like Jimmy Flick fumbled fucking terribly with that fight. He could have won that fight if he just didn't jump that fucking gilly. He could have won that round and got the decision, but no, he decides to jump a stupid gilly and give up his back. He'd done it loads of times. I don't know what's like the obsession is with people jumping gillies and giving up their back. He was much weaker than Chanel, it was clear. Couldn't get off his back. it was just sad to watch as someone who predicted Jimmy Flick would win. Not angry at Chanel. I feel like Chanel's probably going to get chinned in his next fight because Flick, who is normally known for zero power, almost chinned him early. So it's just like, yeah. I don't see either of these fighters going on to win a title. I don't see them getting ranked. I don't see them winning another fight after this. I feel like Chanel's probably going to get knocked out badly in his next fight and then retire. Flick should retire. That's really it. Just how bad is Cody Durden, you know? Moving on. Evan Elder versus Gage Young. I did not know these two were training partners. So it kind of makes sense to kind of carry each other to a decision. I feel like Elder was kind of just taking it easy on Young and just kind of tapping him with body and leg strikes. He did rock Gage Young sometimes, but it was clear like Young was just outclassed in this fight. I don't know why Elder shot those takedowns. Very stupid takedown shooting. He did it more than once. I was like, after the first one, you should know, alright, Gage Young has like these takedowns like checked. I'm gonna just keep doing what I'm like doing what's working, you know what I mean? But he won anyway, so fair play to him. Would have liked to see more urgency from Elder, but it was a sparring partner. I didn't want to like hurt him too bad, so just body and leg kicks and like some over the top right hands. Moving on, Chris Gutierrez versus John Castaneda. This was a split decision. I don't know why it was a split decision. I'm 90% sure Chris Gutierrez won that clearly. You know. Let me see. 1 round 1, 1 round 2. Lost round 3. There was a knockdown as well, wasn't there? Yeah, it's no way in hell that was a fucking split decision. They almost robbed him. You know, it's just kind of mad. The fact that Saldum Diamato was the one seeing sense in this fucking fight is mental to me. Good job, Chris Gutierrez. This, don't get it fooled. This was not a split decision. This should have been unanimous. But, fair play. Damon Blackshear versus Alung Tigeli. I really think at some point Damon Blackshear is going to get chinned again. I feel like it might be his next fight. If he fights a power puncher in his next fight, he is getting chinned. Because Along Tigeli like literally grazed him with something, and I literally started worrying that like Damon Blackshear was going to get knocked down, because he started like, you know, the signs when someone gets hit and they kind of just do like the stanky leg. It was a good win from Damon Blackshear. I feel like he should have wrestled more, but he wanted to prove he can strike after that knockout loss. Fair play to him. He dominated the fight. But Along Tigeli kind of did hold his own, but you know, it was a lot of damage for Damon Blackshear. Probably go on to lose his next fight. I don't really see much from him here. He probably got, if he, what's the word? If he cherry picks his next opponent, I can see him winning. He needs to fight a wrestler next, I'd say. But good job for Damon Blackshear. Alright, that was a cut. My fucking setup just exploded for some reason. I don't know. This is course. I'm gonna try to get this done with quicker than usual. Good job, Damon Blackshear. He looked decent. Looked good Muay Thai. It was a Muay Thai fight, let's be honest. Good job. No knockdowns. It was kind of alright fight. This fight I got terribly wrong. Cameron Simon's chin is garbage, from what we learned. He still has time to come like into himself. Like, he's only 24, but Malcolm Wellmaker is probably going to go on to do great things in the bantamweight division. He was losing that fight points wise, but he just clipped Simon with something. I'd like to see him fight someone with a decent chin and see if it wasn't just Cameron Simon's deteriorating chin and just Wellmaker's power. Because if he is like that hard of a hitter, like damn. Simon went against Talbot, who's a hard hitter, and actually took some punches from Talbot. And Wellmaker just literally did a one punch knockout. Like, I'm not even kidding, one punch. And it was bad out cold. I feel like Simon is just Dreykus without the grit. I feel like that would Simon is just proves that like technically these guys are bad if it wasn't just for that grit. So I think Dreykus is like the saving grace in the camp. I feel like the rest of the fighters are. I was blinded by like Dreykus being his teammate now. It's sad. Disappointing. I see a lot of potential in Simon, but he's just too chinny and the IQ is just not there, you know. But moving on. Good job, Bellmaker. I'd like to see him fight again sometime in the next 2 months. Literally took no damage that fight. He should be able to fight next month if he wanted to. But he'd probably fight on I think he's at the Atlanta card, which is in 2 months, I believe. So I hope I see him there, and hopefully he gets like an opponent that tests him. Moving on. Jacqueline Amorim versus Poliana Viana. Yeah, I don't know who thought Poliana Viana was going to win this fight. She just kind of sat there and tried like some kind of triangle off the bottom and elbows, but you know, rounds 2 submission from Jacqueline. Good job. I hope they cut Poliana Viana, but they probably won't. They'll probably feed her another can opponent and then try to get a win for her, and then she's probably going to retire. Good job, Jacqueline. I think she probably gets to the top 10, I'd say. Alright, moving on. Timmy Kuamba versus Roberto Romero. This fight I got terribly wrong. Roberto Romero got chinned by a flying knee. A tad bit early stoppage, but I didn't really see Romero coming back, so I lost that pick. Like, it was an early stoppage, but I was going to lose that pick either way. Like, who knows, maybe he could have come back and chinned Kuamba, but good job, Kuamba. I feel like he could probably make it to the top 15, I reckon. I reckon he beats Onama pretty easily, so maybe that's the matchup to make, but you know. He'd probably fight Giga Chikadze in his next fight. That'd be a good stylistically matchup. Kind of saddened. Roberto Romero was a lot of potential, but he'd probably get cut after this fight, which is sad. Good job, Timmy Guamba. He probably goes on to be top 15 in like the next year or two. Moving on. Final fight of the night. Jocelyn Edwards versus Chelsea Chandler. I mean, who thought Chandler was going to win this or make it competitive, you know, man? Jocelyn took her down and just beat her up for the first 2 minutes, and then the referee stopped it. That's really all that happened. Nothing really major happened that fight. Yeah, just good job, Jocelyn Edwards. Probably cut Chelsea Chandler. I think she's 6-4 now, which is a terrible fucking record. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. It was a good fight. It was an early stoppage. Thank Christ. I think they both made weight, so Armageddon might come tomorrow. Who knows? That's been my predictions for UFC Kansas City. Please let me know if you disagree with my decisions. If you watch my predictions video, if you want to watch my prediction video and just fact check if I got all those right, go ahead. Yeah, I'm going to do the Eubank reaction probably sometime tomorrow, because I couldn't be asked to do it today. I'm too tired. I probably will upload a predictions video for I might do the Canelo card maybe. I don't know. But I'll do the Sandhagen and the Figueiredo probably sometime Friday or Thursday. So keep an eye out. All right, see ya.